All right, welcome to this next installation in Cyberchat. I'm your host, Dave, here with ZNN, and with me I have an esteemed guest. You might have met him on a prior show, friend of the show, Orthogonal Reptilian.
Phasing in.
Hey, thanks for joining us. So today I wanted to talk to you because, after all, you are Reptilian. And I thought you might have some interesting insight on our man Bloomberg over here. And I thought it was pretty apropos because of all this hype around the coronavirus. And he's over here licking his fingers and tearing pieces of pizza off, throwing it back in the box, and then like touching the coffee maker. So I wanted to get your take. I mean, he looks rather reptilian in nature while he's doing this. I don't know what you or the viewers will think, but let's take a look here at old Bloomberg. There's no audio, unfortunately, because I think this was uploaded on TikTok. So it was probably not something that the campaign thought was going to be around for very long. But, you know, with the internet, nothing is temporary. It's all permanent. Somebody's recording it or screen capping it or whatever. So anyways, check this out. And the reason this really made news is because Trump had tweeted out or Instagrammed out, you know, hey, Mini Mike, you know, don't lick your nasty, dirty fingers. It's a hazard to yourself and others. And, you know, Trump is always really good with his timing and taking advantage of these sort of situations. And so, you know, it's funny to me because the other day, just on ABC, whatever, three-letter agency news network was being served up to me on YouTube. They were talking about all the extraordinary measures being taken now at airports across the country to fight the coronavirus, and it shows a bunch of TSA agents and people like wiping down the handrails and the seats and shit. And I'm just like, y'all weren't already doing this? This is an extraordinary effort. But then we got, you know, people running for president here. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, I know you're sort of related to him, but he looks like a freaking reptilian.
The resemblance is uncanny. And let me tell you, he is just cleaning his scales. You know, he's scent marking the pizza, you know, for anyone who's not aware of this creature, you know, and his constituents that orbit this reptile. But, you know, by the way, of course, you know, he's dropped out at this point, I understand.
Shortly
but
after this. But
I've tried not to pay too much attention to it, but I don't believe it was the coronavirus frenzy was at a fever pitch just yet. And I just, you know, I want to call it now. You know, historically, there's so many interesting campaigns, or rather relationships between estates and its citizenry, specifically with campaigns regarding sanitization, or, you know, sanitizing. And I'm interested to see where this language goes, you know, regarding, you know, just the infected, or those who need to be cleansed.
well, yeah, a lot of insurance companies are offering free coronavirus test kits for those who qualify. And, you know, of course, if you're tested positive, what kind of implications does that bring to an individual? It is interesting how these things get politicized, right?
Oh, of course.
But let this be a lesson to America to, I mean, just wash your hands and you shouldn't have too much to worry about. But
Or don't eat pizza with this guy.
I mean, seriously. So, like, you know, this little clip made its way out, and on first glance, if you watch it at 30 frames a second, you don't really catch it. I mean, obviously it's gross, he looks nasty and stuff, but when you slow it down, like, what's really going on here? Like, okay, so first of all, he starts off, he licks his finger before he even has anything on his hand, right?
He does.
Licking his hand
He's cleaning
before
his
he even
scales.
has food in it. And then he goes and he touches a, I mean, you think, okay, he's just tearing off a piece of pizza from another piece, but then he goes on to take that piece off, then take a piece off that piece, and then he throws the majority of the pizza back in the box and only eats this little piece. And then the little caption, so people know I'm not bullshitting, it says, "When in doubt, rip the crust off." What? And then, if that wasn't bad enough, he eats this little piece that he ripped off a pizza, and then he licks every single one of his fingers?
Mm-hmm.
Almost every one of his
maybe
fingers.
we'll have to take that caption and query it in the Podesta emails.
Dude. Yeah. Right? When in doubt,
Yeah, I mean,
rip
it
the crust
is
off. Who posted this anyways? Was it Jimmy Comet?
Might as well have been. I don't know. TikTok is just so stupid. I'm again trying not to pay too much attention to it.
Yeah, I guess he's out, right? So we shouldn't. But pretty telling video. But you know, speaking of reptiles, here's another one. You know, thrust into the spotlight, right? Because of Super Tuesday, it's Joe Biden. I mean, I think this has got to be the most entertaining election cycle ever if you're into watching a train wreck. Because you can really see in his eyes that he's completely gone. Come on, Joe. Where you at?
I saw that made me aware when I was in law school. Proudly for Holloway. Proudly for your dad. First African-American state senator in the state of Delaware. Everything about.
Dude, listen to the, like, he's still trying to, like, use his neuro-linguistic programming training to put inflection on his gesticulations in a certain way, and people like in a sort of robotic trance are sitting there clapping, but he's not really saying anything that's coherent or makes sense. So it's almost sadder the people that are clapping for this guy.
Yeah, he's literally trying to remember what he just said as he pauses and takes a breath.
Yeah. And then that's just pure senility and dementia in that brief section right there. But this is just fucking disturbing right here.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn.
Look at his hands right there. They turn, and right as he's telling this story about hairy legs and kid touching his legs, what does he do? He leans right over and puts his hand right on that kid next to him. Look at her looking at his hand. She's like, what the fuck?
And it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
What did he say?
He learned about roaches. He learned about kids jumping on his lap.
I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
He loves kids / roaches jumping on his lap? Are those two different things or what? What's going on there?
I mean, clearly this clone is degenerating.
They need to replace him. They need to send him to Chelsea's apartment to get that blood boy infusion like Hillary did in the 2016 campaign. Remember that?
Oh, believe me, they're fetching a fresh harvest from the brood.
From somewhere in Haiti.
And I tell you what, the men, they're now all men, the guys I work with down here, and they're all guys at the time. They're all good men. Most of them made an awful lot of themselves. And Earl Larkin had a rough time.
Who? What the fuck is he talking about?
Some of you knew Earl.
Yeah, we're just scratching the surface of these dementia videos.
Here we go.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.